students? You should. So anyway, you want to talk about each of your focus students, why you chose them, what you're looking for, describe what you're going to do to differentiate, etc. So there's a chart. You can expand that chart. Okay. And then if you'll scroll down to the lesson plan template, it should follow. Oh, so, excuse me. So you have the lesson plan format or the template here. You type in or copy and paste. Remember, there's only 10, 5, 10? How many? Okay, there are 10 here. So if you need more than 10, copy and paste the entire document first, the entire template for the lesson plan first and attach it at the end. If you don't need all 10 of them, you can delete them. But I would probably wait until I'm completely done instead of saying, okay, I'm only teaching 7 days, I'm going to delete 3, and then, oh, whoa, I decided to go 14 days. Yes? Absolutely. The question was, can we go over the 10 days? Yes. Right, you cannot go under the 5. 5 to 10, I think is what? No?
You said 5 to 10 less.
Well,
This is 3 to 5.
Yeah, but remember the directions are for the state. Okay, so this is a state document. We require 5 to 10. Okay, just double checking. So if you want to scratch that 3 to 5 right now, don't let that confuse you. And I did mention that the day of orientation. That's a state document, and then somewhere, yeah, note, follow your institution's specific requirements regarding blah, blah, blah. Yes, so you can't go under 10, yes.
Okay, my question goes through a 3-day rotation, so I don't see the same kids until 3 days later, so
Okay.
what does that mean to me?
Well, that means if your unit is going to be 10 days, it's going to take you longer than 10 days to do it.
Okay.
Yes, every 3, yes. So you need, I don't know how you're going to work it, but whatever, it's just going to take, but that doesn't mean that your unit is going to be, 30-some days. It's still going to be the, 5 to 10 days, but it's just going to take you longer than 5 to 10 days to cover it. Right?
I'll probably
You'll probably want,
go through 5 days, so I'd be there like 3 weeks.
okay. Wait a second, I think, is there a hand?
Yeah, so where it said 3 to 5 in the directions, that didn't mean like 3 to 5 per day, that meant like 3 to 5 days, but we're doing 5 to 10 days.
I think yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the per meant.
On number 1, it says create minimums 3 to 5 daily lesson. That means,
As part of your unit. Oh, you were saying
that doesn't mean we have to write like
3 to 5 per day. I know what you're saying. No,
Okay.
that's your unit. Okay. Yes,
For a couple of lessons, I think.
but, oh, sorry, but it's not 3 to 5, it's 5 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the couple of lessons that would take more than 1 day, can we use like the one template and put like this will last 2 days, or do we have to copy it?
We've had this question before. I think if you make it very, very clear that this is day 2 and day 3.
Yeah, I edited it, so like
Okay.
2 and 3.
Okay, just as long as you might even highlight that, just so the evaluator can see that. But you don't want to make it just, okay, it's going to be 2 days just because I really don't want to have another day in my unit and I'm already burnt out or something like that.
Oh,
Then I don't see that
legit-
happening. Pardon me?
They're legit.
Okay, that's good. Yes? Uh-huh. And the block is designed differently, so maybe in your school it's not, but, if it's a full block of instruction, then, my answer probably is still yes, but I'm just saying that's not what the block is designed to do, but you can't do anything about it, and I can't do anything about it. So. the best you can. I know you do. Other questions? Up to task 4, yes.
So does it have to be like 2 solid weeks, or can you like break this down into like this a week, and then like if we need to take a break in between that, we want to take back up? Or does it have to be like blocked out time? Like you need to go this in with like your computer and be like, listen, this needs to be blocked out time.
Okay, so I'm not.
If like benchmark testing or something should get in the way.
Oh, well, if testing gets in the way, then there's nothing you can do about that. But if it's just normal circumstances, I don't know why you would want to put a week in between your unit, because then by the time post-test comes, you know, right, they're gonna forget what you did the first half. So if it's something that you can't control, snow days, teacher walk out, those kinds of things, you can't control that.
Okay.
But if it's just, I don't know, I wanna take a break, exactly, then,
Yeah. Okay. I was just making sure.
yeah. And then what I would do when I come back, just like you would do on a snow day or a snow week, I'd come back and say, okay, let's remember what we were doing before we left. And don't assume that they will remember. Okay. Yes.
So like, I could, like cause I see my kids like every day.
Okay.
Like, I could get my unit done basically for a week, but he still wants me to just keep teaching. Should I keep doing all of this, like all the steps, or if I do more than one unit?
Okay, so,
Cause he gave me the class the second week, so I've already had them just away by myself for a whole week. I was supposed to start my unit this week, and so say I get that done within the next week, he still wants me to keep teaching that class until I'm gone.
oh yes, so your TPA is just for your unit. Now, and I don't think you were saying this, but all of you are gonna be teaching much more than just your unit. So, you know, I don't want you to think you're gonna go in and teach 5 to 10 days of your unit, and then you're just like, okay, I'm done, I'm gonna sit back here, twiddle my thumbs and do whatever I need to, check my phone and all that kind of stuff, until the 15, 14, 15, 16 weeks are up. So, yeah, but it doesn't have anything to do with your TPA. Yes.
Do we need to provide a lesson plan for all the students we're teaching, even if the jury has a lesson plan?
My answer is yes. I know the supervisors talk about that. I know some of them, well, I don't want to speak for them, but I think some do a little condensed kind of thing, but yes. It's not part of your TPA, but
You still should.
yes, because basically then you're relying on them to tell you what to do, and who's going to do that when you get out there and get your own classroom? No one. That's right. So, and if that teacher would be in an accident with her lesson or his lesson plan book on the way to work, and you didn't write your own, we're not going to color for it. Task 4, additional questions. So this is where you upload your unit. This is going to make your TPA quite lengthy. You are going to highlight. Okay? Oh, no. You're going, you know, the lesson plan template says you highlight. You highlight your differentiated instruction, your resources, materials, technology. There's something else. There's 4 of them. There you go. Oh, is language in there? I mean, it's for the outline, highlighting? Okay, language. I thought it was instructional strategies. Oh, okay. Yes.
For the highlighting, do we follow what is given at the instructional procedures at that very top portion? For the
Yes,
color.
unless you by chance don't have those colors and you want to make it known, I'm going to do differentiated instruction in black, not black, purple, and, you know, I'm going to change my color, but you need to let that be known. But
Okay.
if you can do those colors, that would be wonderful, because we're used to those.
Okay, but if possible, just follow the ones, the blue, the green, the pink, and the yellow.
Yes.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Do we have to use technology in every single lesson?
In every single lesson, I think there are going to be times when probably not, you're not. So my answer is no. I know, I think you should. But there are going to be times when you're not. So,
I always say when appropriate.
yeah,
You know.
We don't have to share.
okay. Okay, so
So like
sometimes,
our technology is like a standard.
okay. And a lot of times it used to be the overhead, which, now is talking the camera.
It's just, there's a whiteboard in the state.
Okay. There was a time when technology meant, what, rulers and calculators, and back in the dinosaur days. Metronome. Okay, other questions on task 4? We have one more task I'm gonna cover today. I don't know what time you tell me to get out of here,
I didn't say, I
Okay.
didn't.
because I have on my calendar 1 to 5.
Oh. They all went. I did not tell her that.
You really thought you had the day off. All right, nothing else on task 4? Yes?
All right, one more question. Where's my find resources talking about how to adapt to construction for inclusive section
Google. I'm not exactly sure what you, I don't know what you're asking me. The resources there are resources that you're going to use in your classroom. So if you use a website and you want students to read it, to gain some information so that we can have a class discussion tomorrow, that's a resource. But if you just want to go out and research, how can I involve special ed students in my classroom? That's not really part of your unit. You're doing that for yourself, so that wouldn't be included. So I'm not sure if I answered your question.
I've been trying to look up stuff about like ADHD, learning disabilities and stuff like that.
I would, because your unit's not on that, correct?
No, but like I might have to address it to get my conflict.
If it's something you're going to use in your unit, then yes, put the site where you found it.
Okay.
If you're just looking for stuff to help you to know how to get it from there, or, engage them or interact with them, then that doesn't necessarily have to go.
All right. Thanks.
Other questions? Oh, sorry.
Do you want us to teach to the learning styles such as auditory, visual, and kinesthetic as well as like students who need like different expertise with that learning? Is there too much?
No, yes, you should. That's my professional opinion.
Okay.
I guess if you only want to teach to the tactile learning student, I guess you can, and we can tell you where you missed it. But yes, you want to cover all types of students.
I didn't know if you guys were just like, okay, well, we're assuming that you're already doing this, so you don't, or if you want to.
We don't assume anything.
Oh, good. That means there's no like, you're not gonna just.
We expect everything. We don't assume anything. Is that a good way to say it? Okay. Task 5. Task 5 is videoing and reflecting. So listen very carefully, because some of you are going to say, well, I didn't hear you say that. So, video. You are going to video your lesson or lessons or parts of your lesson. You are going to upload it to live text in this document, or as a piece to this document for your TPA. Yes.
So it'll just be a separate file,
It will
similar to like if we had a pictures or something.
So what?
Similar to like
Yeah,
an earlier
yes.
question with the pictures.
And I think in one of their files, it tells them how to condense it if it's not, if it's too big. But yes, it will, you just upload it just like you would any of your others.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Now, about your video. It can be as many clips as you want it to be, up to 15 minutes. It can be one clip up to 15 minutes. It can be 2 or 3 or 4. You don't want to make it so choppy. I mean, I guess technically you could have 30-second videos if you wanted. But I'm not going to get a whole lot out of that. But if you have 2 8-minute videos, and the best part of that 16-minute video is the last 1 minute, guess what? I won't see it. We cut off at 15 minutes. So if you're going to put 16 minutes on there, you better hope your best is the first 15. Because at 15 minutes, we cut it off.
15 minutes.
Yes, that is total, not one, that's, so if you have 30-second clips, you've got 15 minutes. If you have 31 30-second clips, I'm not going to watch the 31st one. So, yes.
Can your video cover different days? Say like, this part of my lesson was really good and informative, but then like I lost like video footage or something, but I did the second day and it's pretty good.
And every time I go to explain this, I say it wrong. So, you want to edit. You can edit, but you can't. Did I say it wrong? You splice. You can see I say it wrong every time. You can splice, but you can't edit. So you might say, "Oh, I took this really, really, really good lesson, and right in the middle of it, Johnny decided to start hanging from the ceiling, and he distracted me, and so that was a great part of my lesson, but I'm just going to cut that out and do it another day when Johnny's not there and stick that in." So you cannot do that. You want to have a full lesson and show what you're supposed to show. Sure, you want to see? Yeah. Change of clothes.
What she means is, at least on the secondary level, we have a 45 or 50-minute period. Obviously, you can splice like the opening 5 minutes where you're showing your introduction, and you can splice that to the last 5 minutes. But what you can't do is, here I'm teaching on, doing my exercise on the board, and then, like you said, Johnny's hanging from the ceiling, so I come back tomorrow with a different set of clothes on and act like I'm just picking up right where I left off.
Which doesn't mean wear the same clothes tomorrow.
So that's what we mean by splice, but you can't. And you also cannot put in like little bubbles, text bubbles, or happy faces, or anything like that. We don't want to see that.
And I will tell you, I don't know that many of us do it, but we can comment. You can too, but I don't think we've ever gone over, so never mind. I just wanted to say. Yes.
So, can we choose different days to video our lesson? Like, should our video all be one day? Okay.
Now, should you only video one day? No, because the day you decide to video, Johnny's going to be hanging from the ceiling. So I may have to say, oh, that's not the best, that doesn't show my best work because I lost it and, whatever I did. So I'm going to, it's not going to be the same thing, but I'm going to re-record tomorrow and make sure that I get all of the things that are listed there. So if, yes, and probably if I were you, I'd record every day.
That's what I was
Every day of
going
my
to say.
units.
Every day of your unit, I would just record it. Because the day you think it's going to be really great, it might not be. In the past, we've had somebody with an iPad sat up and a kid walked by and licked the iPad. That happened. We had somebody who had an iPad set up in a gym and the iPad fell over, and it was just two old teachers talking for 30 minutes about everybody else in the building. And that was the day he filmed. He didn't have anything else. And then last semester, I had somebody text me freaking out because their teacher had filmed it on like they had filmed it for them on an iPad or an iPhone and texted to them, and then deleted it after they texted, and then they didn't have all the video. So I would video every day, and I would save it twice. I would save it 2 different places every day. I just would.
And let me just reiterate what Mrs. Priest is saying. Something is going to happen to the video that you probably want to use.
Mhm.
So you need to have a backup. I make my students record a lesson in the class that they take from me. Something always happens, okay? So if you're gonna have somebody, if the teacher says, oh, let me record you, I'll do it. Well, you better make sure he or she knows how to use the whatever device it is. Now, they may say, yes, it does, but I had one time, you could hear, oh, I know how to use this, and that's all I heard. And so you know, if that happens, and that was the very last day of your unit, and you're not doing it anymore, that was the last day of school. Do I need to tell you what happens? Placement 2 comes, and what do you get to do? Redo. Just the video? You get to do the whole thing all over again. Okay? Multiple days. Record multiple days. Pick the best.
Should we talk about where the cameras are?
Yes, I'm
sorry,
going to mention that, but
okay.
before I mention that, and I see the hand, give me just a second. On task 5, in the what to do column, there's number 3, A through E. It tells you what we want to see on the video. Because it says in the narrative, something. Analyze how the video clips document the ability to effectively blah, blah, blah. So, you know, if you're telling us about that, we want to see those things. Organization of the classroom. We want to see that stuff. Content delivery. Now, that doesn't mean we want to see all of the content delivery, because remember, we're only going to be watching how many minutes? 15 at 15:01. We don't see it anymore. So you can have as many clips as you want, but make them good. Make them the same day. And show us what we need to see. So real quick before the questions come. Where should you put, so back to the teacher says, oh, let me record you. Make sure he or she knows how to. But on the other hand, if someone is going to record you, please make sure that they're not just following you around with a video camera, because I don't want to see this the whole time. And I'm hoping, even if you set your camera up in the back of the room and it's facing this direction, don't zoom in so much that this is all I see, because I hope you're going to be here for 1 second and somewhere else, 1 second later you're going to move. Okay? So it's better if we have a wide angle so that I can see what you're doing. You're moving, you're helping students, you're working with groups. Now, whatever it is you're doing, I want to see it. I don't want to see your beautiful face the entire time, okay? If the sound doesn't work, that's a problem. So if you watch it and say, oh my gosh, there's no sound, don't say, well, I'm just going to stick it in and hope they don't realize that. Okay, well, we do not have any evaluators that are deaf, okay? So we will notice that. On the other hand, it will not work if there's no picture. I've had students before turn it in where I only hear sound. Well, I don't know what you're doing. You might be dancing around the room, and I mean, I guess if that teaches the lesson, whatever, but I need to see what you're doing, and I need to hear what you're doing. Okay? So, if you have students, Dr. Watson had the consent release form up there that you have to get from everybody in the classroom. If you have students that don't send that in, again, I think I mentioned this during orientation, please don't send them out, okay? Put them somewhere in the room where the camera is not going to hit them. And make sure that when you put that wide angle, you don't forget, oh, I forgot Johnny's in that picture. Make sure, you know, maybe he thinks he's on it. And yes, they will, when they know you have a camera, they will act goofy, some of them, or some of them will clam up and not say anything. They'll walk by it and wave and, hey, and you know, who knows what they might do, especially if you have older ones. But just, it's okay. We see that stuff all the time. I'm not very good at analyzing voice, so if I don't see their picture, or their face, I'm not gonna know. As long as you don't say, oh, okay, George Watson, thank you for that answer, that was a wonderful answer, and, because then I'm gonna know who it is, so.
So if it's like, we can't say names of the students.
And you can say a name of the person, you just don't want too much information. Probably, when I'm looking around the room, if I want you to say something and I look at you, you pretty much know, oh my gosh, she's looking at me, I better say something. So you could, just don't call everybody else's name and not call that student. Every now and then just say, what were you saying? You want to explain,
And that might be an example of something that is okay to explore, if you've had an interaction.
Yeah, well, let's not even go there. Never mind. Ignore what he said. And I guess if the camera accidentally, if that child would get up and walk in front of the camera, you can block it. Put a little smiley face on his or her face if you can see it or something like that. But it's just protecting you, and it's really following what the parents would like in that case, because we don't know what's going on.
Audio wise, my kids are the ones that can't hear me, like how does that work?
We have had students who were able to put a little clip-on mic that would be picked up. I don't know. What's the best way to have them do? In the past, we haven't had a situation where we could not hear in the gym. You may have to speak up a little bit louder that particular day. You may have to have someone kind of video you and stay close to the mic like this.
My suggestion would be to film a day, even if it's not part of your day, try it out. If you really do have a problem with talking.
There's some great equipment that we don't have yet, but we're hoping to move that direction for that particular thing. Yes?
Should we indicate on one of the lesson plans that we turn in which one corresponds with the video we're taking, or does that matter?
It doesn't matter, but you can.
I don't know if you guys wanted to follow along. Okay, so there's a video because of this lesson, and if you guys want to just follow along.
Not necessarily, because I'll be honest with you, if your lesson follows your lesson plan very detailed, wow, that's great. I don't know that I ever wrote a lesson plan and followed it step by step, because something always happens. A student asks a question and you have to go off here somewhere to answer that question, and you're like, oh gosh, I didn't put that in my lesson plan. So we're not going to take your lesson plan and do the video and say, whoops, they didn't do that, whoops, they added this. But if you want to say, this is the day I videoed, that's fine, we can figure it out. Now, please don't try to trick us. And I don't know that it was a trick, but there was a video in a past TPA that had nothing to do with the TPA, so come on. We're a tad smarter than that. And that's not going to be a pleasant conversation when we call you in.
I think.
Yes. Yes, we have had that. Remember, you're saving every time you type a word, you're saving, so that you don't lose your TPA or your family pet doesn't destroy it, or a child doesn't come up and say, oh.
Save it in multiple locations. Flash drive can be lost. Your hard drive can crash.
And we have heard every excuse. We have heard things I never thought I could dream up. So, just so you know.
Yeah. So what we're saying is there's probably not much you can
I'm not gonna pull anything over.
reinvent, but don't try, please. Oh my goodness. Although it does make for a
It does make for
comic
fun
relief.
conversations, yeah.
And have you, when Dr. Watson was saying save on multiple flash drives, multiple places, I can't tell you how many times I put a flash drive in my computer and it was fine yesterday, and today it says there's some kind of something wrong with it and it won't do anything. Yes. On the cloud, yes, the cloud, it's good.
Secondary ed where we might have multiple classrooms. If we film, should we only focus on one specific class?
Yeah, you have a target classroom,
Okay.
so you may be teaching the same lesson in all classes, but do your target. Anything else about the video?
What do you recommend video?
The LRC has cameras, good cameras that you can check out to use. You can use your iPhone, iPad, whatever, as long as you can get it off of there and onto,
What do you recommend using to edit?
turn around and ask him.
Yeah.
The easiest thing in terms of editing and splicing together is free, Microsoft Photo. On your Windows computer, Mac people, I forget the name of your video editor program, I'm not familiar with that. I know they have a really good one, but I can't really help you that much. And don't be bashful about asking for help. I have office hours, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And if Dr. Watson can't answer it, we have other IT people, or we can send you to another IT person on campus. We'll help you as much as we can. How many minutes are we gonna watch? 15. How many goals are we gonna expect? Change your clothes while you're videoing? Well, I guess if you spill something, because honest to goodness.
Somebody throws up on you, you have to wear it.
I was being very good this morning, and I came in, I was drinking hot chocolate, talking to another professor, and honest to goodness, it went straight down the front of me, and I was like, so I did go, and so I'm standing back there. I don't think you, well, I can see it, but I scrubbed it off. So if that happens, just, yeah, make a little note. But if that happens to everybody.
5 and 10 or however.
Okay, Dr. Watson, could you scroll down to, the reflection, oh, sorry.
Like one less.
There's a reflection piece on, task 5. The reflection piece on task 5, the chart. In your template, this is the other, right here. Sorry. The chart. Thank you. Yeah, the reflection chart. Okay, so here on task 5, you also have the reflection piece where you're going to reflect each day. Now, if it were me, I probably can't remember, because I'm old, I can't remember what I did yesterday, so I'm going to reflect every day. I think you should reflect every day. I guess if you think you can remember it at the end of 2 weeks and want to go back and reflect day by day, that's not wise. But you're going to reflect here, okay? Tell us what went well, what didn't, why you think, maybe you didn't cover but half of your lesson because there was a fire drill, or, whatever. But you're going to reflect on your daily lessons in this chart. Again, you can expand it. You don't use all the days. I think there are 15 listed here. If you don't have 15 days, you just delete them. And then there's a few narrative questions, as there are on all of them. So questions you have on task 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question on task 3, I think it's page 10.
Okay.
The student and teacher directions, I think I missed when you were talking about that, I don't have any idea what that is.
If you include assessments or that ugly worksheet word or something, and there's something there, and maybe you handed it out to the students, or maybe you give them a blank sheet of paper and said, I want you to draw something, but there are no directions on it. Tell us what those are, so that we know what it is that you're asking them to do. So if there are no directions, tell us.
Okay, so if there's directions in all of our documents, then we wouldn't have anything there?
If they're enough for us to understand what's going on. Now, if there are directions and you have to explain to the students because the directions, there's not enough, then you need to write that in there too. Okay. Okay. I think I saw a hand over here, but maybe answer. Oh, okay. Over here. Yes.
Similar vein in task 3. If we have, say, like our assessments, just however many questions, do you want us to like, so we type out our document, with the assessment. Do you want us to copy and paste that into the document section, or do you want us to try and like have a physical copy, document scan it, or put it in that?
So what was the first one? Just retype it in there?
Yeah, just
Oh,
retype
gosh, I wouldn't retype it.
Or copy and paste it?
Yes. Or, oh, I would probably put the actual document.
Okay.
And even if it's just you're taking a picture and a little, now if it's, like she was using a 15-page thing that
Yeah.
they're using with the class, I would attach that as a separate file.
Okay.
But, or even if you take, maybe there's 4 of them and you take pictures and you shrink them, you know, just enough for us to see what it is, that's fine.
Okay.
But I would not retype, or copy and paste, I guess, is okay. If it looks
I was
like
just
a
wondering,
document.
if you like wanted a physical copy implemented into the Word document, or if you just wanted us to, because I would imagine I'm typing out some of my assessments in Word. I just wanted to know if copying and pasting them would work.
Either one's fine.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Are you cold or ready to go? Oh, ready to go.
It's cold outside.
I said 5 o'clock, don't you remember
Oh,
that?
yeah.
It is cold outside, it is very cold outside. At least the wind's not blowing like it was yesterday. That was awful. Yes.
In task 1, do you want us to make sure we include the name of where like, the community name?
Yeah, that does go in the
Okay,
document.
making sure, so like, I don't know, my brain was like, okay, we're not like, let's tell the students' names, or let's tell
We know that, so I guess if we really wanted to look it up, we could, but yeah, most of that, because we just don't share it.
leading up to this is like, let's see,
People will say, I'm 3rd grade at Spring Hill. And when you do your presentations for your capstone, your strategic capstone, you're going to say, I'm at 3rd grade Spring Hill or whatever.
Yeah.
You did know that, right? Task 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So when we meet again, which I think is about a week, next Friday? Okay, if we can get, okay. Yeah, don't forget it, just whenever it is, whenever we meet again, we will go over 6 and 7, which we probably won't, no, I shouldn't say that. We probably won't be here till 5 o'clock. I think it's going to be a morning session, but we won't be here a long time, but we'll be here long enough. If you have a question on 1 through 5, please don't wait until the next session. Please either send an email to me or Mrs. Priest, and she'll get it to me, or she can answer it or whatever. Because if you wait and we don't meet again for 3 weeks, you're going to be way behind.
We have some supervisors here, so if your supervisor's here, you need to meet with them. Mike, we think we're gonna meet across the hallway in the spot room, so we can go over here. Otherwise. Scratch that, huh?
I'll see you next time.
You get well before we start, so don't stress.
just saw the trade, we still need to be today or?
Yeah, somebody here will keep time. We're not gonna screw it up.
I said that, just don't need to be late, go back Tuesday.
Yeah, I want to make sure that we're all kind of on the same page. Right. Top 6 days of cover. And I don't want us to be going more than about 8 months.
Okay, so Tom,
Good. You're gonna put this on there, and wait till we get in my.
You're on the clock now.
time to start.
Somebody has a question. Respond. If you're real serious about this, okay. Rules about days like today, and next week. What's supposed to happen? Two of them. So how do you make sure you get out of trouble? Most of the people that will tell you be there like you would say. Except for you, the teacher told you what did I make sure you had me do? Recording. I text you that. Hey, you want to make sure that someone is committed to you, they're on notes. Okay, you do the I will not delegate stereotypes on purpose. And I will pass through verify the we have 2 of you that have been able to do this week. Here's you all to tell me that I can have any chance. Rest, come on, work. I'm trying to break the time to be like that. With the students. David, before we used to talk to them, it's not talking about. And we got in to have everything completed and not really great detail, we got everything to the best meeting was everything. He will tell you, if you're not going to think about it, walk through, you'll find out PTA can help you. Plans, 5 to 10 days, we're going to be teaching. Get me a note soon. You need to start your week. You're already started. We're going to bed.
Because of the snow days, I think,
send me a text just to make sure that I'm doing on time. Yes. I just forgot. Yeah. But you assume that is. Reflections. Who wasn't that gave instruction on reflections? Okay, tell them what I'm looking for on reflections. What is so right? You can do that. You still won't have questions. But when you see how good it is, I should have done this, this was how it is, our long time. Any questions? Have a chance, check Morgan's reflections. They're the first one I've had in 8 years. I called on there, so you don't even, if I put on there, they'll include you as a copy. I don't know what's going on. This will be great fun. Morgan's reflections. Put on there has a clue, but I'm not. Yes, yeah, come along later. Professionalism. Make sure after our last conversation, when you get through the evaluation, I give you a chance to not be professional and be professional. What you're supposed to do. And I asked you about making curiosity learner. That was not professional. When I asked him, how they like what I do something personal, and he could have said, wasn't none of your business. Of course.
Yeah, I even said that. I said, it's not my business to ask, but.
And what you need to do is when you're in a position, you're not supposed to do something, you have the courage. I will not, any disrespect, you disagree with what I'm saying. I'll tell you. Disagree with me, give away to yes, sir. How are we going?
I'm trying to provide some
Left. So what do we do? We have early house and your classroom. Stop. You got to do it. Stop. You can't let stop. What questions you got to do? Got a chance to see you teach. You brought in the scruffiest looking bunch of people I've ever seen. I hope to do is get it sharp enough to catch up. It's definitely more serious. I see that there's one more there. You did a lot of nice things. I got to see you teach, and I saw you teach last time. The entertaining thing about him is the difference. Less than excited with middle school. It's just the same thing. I'm expecting really good things. You want to pay for you? Oh, yeah. 8 on you. We're going to listen. When do you start teaching? Probably Tuesday. Make sure I get a minute. It may not be somebody to you. I'm sure everything you said, I forgot. Send me a text or something extra here. I know how it yours. I'm good. Text from me, still they drop in my teach. Okay. You're like I'm just sort of, I think it's move forward and something. I can't believe I'm looking at you're disorganized. You think I'm disorganized. You do stuff that I shouldn't do. You've done any out of school, but tell me if you have your I plan to watch about it. You don't have to know big deal out of it. Coach, Rivers, okay, don't erase that. Stop watching. You have a good day, guys. That's a generic thing. Guys, I knew it was different. I knew when I coached girls softball, I used to finish early. It's good. You know, I'm different than the rest of the girls here. They seem to understand that. That's part of your campus. That's right.
Maybe meet with me. But then I'll tell you whether it'll be that Monday or Tuesday. She wants me to do this that early.
Okay, if you're going to start on Tuesday, I want to come down and take a quick at it.
Not this Monday, Monday.
TPA don't do over. Send me his shit right here. I said I need to meet with you. But it doesn't mean I can't get an advance to look at it. Just whatever. We'll do. Well, give me an update on how you do it.
Survived.
So where are you at?
Huntington.
So, city starts with how? I checked the sign.
Yeah.
Were you surprised to get there?
I did not get one.
I'm in shape. She's going to
Yeah, it is. She hasn't been here this week because she took her kids to Disney. But her substitute was who had her first student teaching last semester, and I know her from my church, and so that's been. And then she got a job. Who was subbing? She subs Friday, so she was going to sub Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but she wasn't subbing the last 2 days.
My wife got 4 days job.
Oh, wow.
So she considers the fact she lost $300 in vacation money. So what you do?
It's on grammar. So, in parts of speech, and because I have some lower level, three of my classes are co-taught, and so she expressed like they get adjectives and adverbs mixed up. So we're doing mini lessons on those, and then prepositions. She says they definitely need help on, and we're doing types of sentences, and then obviously I have the post test and the pre-test, but then I'm gonna have them create a Mad Lib, and where they like fill out adjectives and different parts of speech and make like a story and then have them switch. Mini lessons is what I'm doing, and so we just read The Pearl by John Steinbeck, and so I created my adjective one. I don't start until next week, but so I'm starting out. I took a passage from The Pearl and I deleted all the adjectives, and then I'm like, what do you guys notice about this? And then I'm going to show them the next one, and then we'll go over the definition of an adjective. Answer like the questions like an adjective is descriptive, so you can do how many, how much, and then give examples for that, and then we'll do an activity where we work on them making adjectives, like adjective and noun like pairs. I'm creating them.
What I did. So,
Someone's great. So he would feel like I should work like he's a person ever. And so at literally like 8th grade, she tells me like I did this and let's do you want to be constant.
Yeah, so we're playing games.
all in my career,
Thank you. I'm excited too. I'm not sure when I'm starting now since I was supposed to start Monday, so I'm thinking it will be Wednesday because we started a new assignment on Tuesday, and then we didn't get to finish it obviously, so we'll need to finish
I
that.
knew you were excited about
I'll take it easy.
We'll see.
Yeah, because we have 4 English students there, so we all get to eat lunch together, actually, which is nice. But then we saw the other 3 boys that you must have. Yeah, because we had Alice training, so to active shooter training, which was interesting. Good luck. Yeah. We used a Nerf gun to demonstrate. But I mean, it was good, but it was very like sad too because
I eat lunch with Cam those days. So that helps. Really? Cam? Oh, really? Did you find them? The ones that made your reaction so good? I tried to follow it. They have not let me in. Cam came and saw me teach a period on because he has planning during that time. Marcus came up. So Cam just couldn't see me because it's all just come witness it.
Oh, we have lots of here, yeah. Some of my friends that I'm just like kind of, I'm getting closer with, they're from Rowan County, and they're big hunters, and so I'm learning about, they had a squirrel fry, and I ate squirrel for the first time. I liked it, and they haven't taken me hunting, but they've taken me fly fishing.
The kids like the talking faces, and that's like in
I just don't know about all the time. It'd have to be on a weekend. So.
yeah,
Next
time we meet,
okay. All right.
The ones that do talk,
Thank you. You have
all your smiling.
You have a great day. Bye.
Sorry, I just wanted to apologize for not being there today. Yesterday when we went in, they let us go early. Power was off, the lights were turned off. He had training today, so he wasn't going to be there at all.
But what I would, first of all, see that news.
Just think about something.
I hope my little thing about truth that throws lesson off ready. Okay. I didn't plan on saying anything in there, but it's like, oh, this is something I like, truth versus fact.
One person suppose I don't have the ability to, what happens then? That's why I had, B text me, back it up, that way it's on. Maybe to observe the teachers.
Deep plans like that.
Thanks for mentioning email it. I will anonymously
You can take it as either one, but since you want to do it, then yeah,
I'm not sure.
because you want to do it, brand ideas. Yeah. You actually follow through.
I'm sorry about that. Because he told me yesterday over here that he said, I was going to email just not to talk about it. They take it. He said, and they had to tell us if our teachers.
Yeah, that's okay.
First day, we had one of the 7 minutes. So supervisor, teacher, well, student teacher.
Okay.
He wasn't
Yeah.
in the room.
I'll see y'all.
And couldn't. I told the supervisor, he needed to leave there. And sometimes sometimes she requests you won't be able to text me, I will bring you. Feel something in and erase it really good. Thanks for joining.
Yes, sir. I don't have anything to say. I just figured I could learn something by listening.
Well, that's right. And, basically the same story unless you're 16. Do something and teacher said, nothing happens here until
Calls in.